really don't know whether it's early or late, but it is dark out. It is early. So Mobility Monday is all about starting the week off right. We definitely do some great movement, but I wonder every now and then, sorry, I think my need to have everything in order might be playing very strong today. So fatigue just kind of brings you into your true self. We often ask ourselves, like, am I moving well? And how do I compare that to others, right? And I just want to say that everybody's body will tell a story. And as a strength coach or a fitness professional or somebody that evaluates people's bodies and how they look and how they move and how we can make it better, you have to look at the whole story. And so if you sit a lot, that's going to tell a story in how you stand and maybe how you run and maybe how you ride a bicycle. If you don't have to sit a lot, that'll tell a different story. If you grew up as a pitcher in baseball, your body will tell us that story. Usually the story is the essence of the plan. And then the plan just has to be adhered to over time because the nervous system settles in and the fascia and the connective tissue, it molds how we move. And I refer to that as our movement bubble. So through today's session, I'm going to talk a little bit about the movement bubble and how we can optimize it. And I'm here just a little bit early today. I got off an airplane, long flight last night from Spain. I'm here in the home office in Boulder, Colorado. It's an exciting week. I am not going to the island, the Kona. I'm going to support all the athletes from afar, but I'm really excited. I love this week, so I hope you do too. So we're just starting. We'll do a little windshield wiper with the lower leg, right, and we've got the foam roller. We're just using the weight of the leg just below the calf muscle. And if you're new, this is just so you know, you'll be doing this a lot. You should do this, in my opinion, daily. And it doesn't mean you need an hour of foam rolling, because you don't, because we'll be through foam rolling this morning in like 4 minutes. So we're just going to start at the bottom. I definitely have some tightness. It makes perfect sense. I rode my bicycle almost 400 miles last week, and that's going to show up and tell a story in my body. And so if I'm paying attention, that fitness will come up and I will get fitter and my movement bubble will even get better. So a little bit of achiness in the tissue this morning, and that's telling me more than anything that tissue has been challenged, and that tissue now, if I allow it, has a chance to get stronger. And then there's some key topics there. There's some key ways to think about that. If I allow it, what does that mean? That means that basically I acknowledge that my tissue has been stressed, and then my ability to allow it to rebuild and recover and come back in a really healthy way is up to me. And just like it's up to you. So I'm going to allow it. I'm going to take today off. I'm going to work my normal job. I'm going to move around maybe a little bit more than I would normally move around, do a little more demo than I would normally, maybe join my clients for a couple of different repetitions, just to ensure that my movement bubble is being replenished and reset to where I know I belong and what I should do. So we're just on the lateral aspect of that left glute. The knees are not being exploited in a big way through additional movement, and glutes are a little bit sore, which makes perfect sense because when I did ride my bike this week, I always made sure to open up my hips before I got on the bike, and therefore I did not become overly quad dominant on the bicycle. So if we allow it, the hip flexors and the quads on the front side of the body can be really dominant and take over. And I was really careful, not only before I got on the bike in the morning, but also after a coffee stop or something like that, always making sure to open up the front side of the hips. So right side of the hip, just kind of using the body weight through the glutes and just doing a check-in. There's a few different things happening. If I don't really insult the tissue, like I don't put full body weight on there, I'm not looking for pain, I don't have an injury, I'm just looking to try to create a little bit of pressure into the tissue so that there will be a response of fluid And hopefully, if there are any adhesions, which is another interesting topic, maybe we'll talk about that next Monday. I don't know that they're actually adhesions, but there's definitely events happening in the connective tissue that may impact my ability to move and move well. So a little bit of pressure using the foam roller through the lat all along the rib cage, because we want the rib cage, first and foremost, we want the ribs to be able to expand and contract. And if you're following me on the Instagram, today I had a video of Trevor Foley doing an 8-point plank from foundation training, which is one of my one of the few planks that I do use, because it does allow for expansion of the rib cage as well as optimal pelvic position. So if you want to go deeper on that, obviously that's something I use in all my programming. You're welcome to seek out a little bit more ECFIT stuff, but if not, we'll just get it done on Mondays. So just working through the lat, which is one of the areas that if you're riding your bicycle, you're in internal rotation. If you work a lot on the computer, your shoulders go into internal rotation. If you throw a lot of baseballs, your right shoulder, your left shoulder, depending on which hand you're throwing, is gonna go into internal rotation, which means we wanna strengthen you into external rotation to find balance, right? And then it gives permission. You can go internal rotation all you want if that shoulder is strong and that it can decelerate the motion. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is just work towards a little bit of adductor, inner thigh. This is another area that does tend to get a little bit tight. We want the hips to be straight into the front of the room. We want the shoulders and the hips to function as a box. So this would not be a good box because my hips are going that way, my shoulders are going that way. That's dissociating upper and lower body. We're not doing that right now. So hips and shoulders, same place. Foot is out to 45 degrees, and we're just gently loading the tissue. We're not trying to stretch it. We're not trying to go to end range. We're just trying to move through the tissue. And if I wanted to go to end range, I'd start pushing on it. And to be honest with me, my ankles might actually limit my ability to fully lengthen my adductors. So I'm not worried about end range. Just trying to push that knee over toe, nice and easy. There's a little bit of tugging on that adductor, but nothing too crazy. That makes me happy. That's a good sign, right? When you overstress tissue, that's when it really starts fighting you. So again, shoulders and hips, we're at the other side, knees out at 45 degrees, keeping the knee not from diving in. We don't want that knee diving in, and just gently moving through a comfortable and controlled range of motion. And I would say that that's the essence of my movement bubble and mobility. Thus we have Mobility Monday. So just nice and easy. And it's never lost on me that doing this every Monday resets my week and allows me to go out and play hard in nature and ride bikes and run around and, set different thoughts. Maybe I want to run fast 5K. I'm training Rinny right now, Miranda Carfrey, and a group of her friends, and we are training them up. One of them's doing, let's go back to the right side again. We're in that same position, hips and shoulders square to the front, knee is out at 45-degree angle. Now we are going to dissociate the upper body from the lower. So we want the hips to stay forward, and then we're just going to turn away from the knee. Anywho, Rinny and her friends are training, and this is a fun time for Rinny because she's exploring herself as an athlete outside of triathlon and lots of other ideas, but we're going to all do the what we're calling the crop top 5K. So hashtag crop top 5K, tag Miranda Carfrey, and let's see if we can give Rinny a little bit of encouragement. I'm going to see her at 9 o'clock, so I'll do a little post today as well that we can start following that journey. So anyway, crop top 5K is because she thinks she wants to get her six-pack back after those 3 beautiful babies. So we're going to go left knee over left toe, and just moving away from the lower body. So we're trying to get a little bit more space through the belly. Okay, good. Usually on Mondays, we try to keep it between 6 and 10 repetitions of stuff. So we're not trying to overcook it. This is not your exercise session. This is your movement. Okay, good. Okay, down onto the butt. Feet outside of hip width. And we're just gonna drop into happy hips. And again, if your comfortable knee position is that it stays elevated off the floor by 6 to 8 inches, fine. But if you can drop it to the midline of the body and then open that up so it doesn't cross the midline, so pubic symphysis would be midline, this knee is in extension, this hip is in extension to the back. So when I go here, I'm in extension. And just nice and easy. Let the upper body do what it needs to do. Lean back a little bit so you don't have a really severe angle, so we don't be sitting up here. Sit way back on your hands and just let your hips be relaxed and floppy. Good and good. So every time we move like that, we're definitely getting fluid moving through joints, right? Okay, so 90-90, seated 90-90. Let's sit on the right butt. So we're sitting on the right ischial tuberosity, the bone where the attachment of the hamstrings on the right side. The right knee's in 90 degrees and the left knee's at 90 degrees. And we're gonna take that left arm and reach straight out. See if you can drop your chest onto your thigh. And again, we're moving through it. 2, moving through it. 3, 4, we'll do 6 on each side. 5, and 6. And as we do that, that hip is going into internal rotation. So we're getting tension and a little bit of a stretch on the right hip when we're sitting on the right hip. So now we're flipping it over to the left, 90-degree angle on the right, 90-degree angle on the left. We're going to take the right hand. The first one will be a little bit less than the last one. We're going to go 6 reps. 2, 3, just a comfortable stopping point there. 4, 5, and 6. Okay, a little bit of a different happy hips now. We're going to take that into a laying down position. So same rule down in the bottom part of the body, but now we're going to take the rib cage with us. So as the right knee comes to the midline, the right rib cage is going to come all the way across. And it's never lost on me how this can beautifully open up this hip, take the right leg, push it back, just find that tension, take the right arm overhead, go long through the lat, and then we're going to expand the rib cage with a big breath. We don't want to flare the rib cage. We want to keep the ribs down. So even right now, go ahead and push the ribs down. And every inhale, as my rib cage expands, I'm getting more tension into the hip. And come out of that gently. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So we just lay flat on the ground, feet are wide, happy hips to one side, left knee is to the midline. We're going to take that left rib cage all the way across, take that left side back. My left hip is definitely tighter than my right. And we're just trying to create length here, length. Take that arm over, ribs down, ribs down. So this is ribs up, we're in a big spinal extension, and that's ribs down. So ribs down, and then arm overhead. 5 big breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. Good. So if the body starts to sense tension, like too much tension, that will start to upregulate the nervous system. And that'll start to elevate that sympathetic drive, which is your fight or flight, And then your parasympathetic drive, which is your rest and digest. And as we do mobility, we don't want to be in that fight or flight, but we recognize we can get close to it a little bit, and then we try to relax into it. And that, using your breath, is a very good way to relax into tension. So it doesn't mean give yourself so much tension that you have to work really hard to get out of tension, because you probably have just exceeded your movement bubble in that moment. Okay, so let's talk about the hips and the shoulders. Whew. Hips and shoulders as a box. And we're just going to put the hands on the hips and stand really tall. And we're going to stack the ear, the shoulder and the hip and the ankle. So that means we've probably got 60 to 70% of the weight is on the front leg, and we just got a kickstand in the back. When you look at your back foot, let's make sure your heel is outside of your toes, which puts this hip into extension and internal rotation. That's a lot to kind of get your head around, but that's a very, very good position in extension. So we are stacked. We have 60 to 70% of the body weight on the front leg. The head isn't too far forward. The ears are stacked over the shoulders. And we've got all the alignment that we're after. We're going to go head over the right foot. And then we're just going to take the left hip to the midline. And when the hip stops moving, the shoulder stops moving. And this is what we talk about a lot in foundation training, is alignment and strength in the stack, right? So every time I land on my right foot, my right head's over the foot, and there's this freedom for the left side to come nice into the midline, which then gives us the next step, right? So let's change sides. Set up your stack. Nice and tall, pull the ribs down, but up. So the ribs are down, the back is tall, and everything comes up nice and strong. We're stacked, head is over the left side, and we take the right hip into the midline. We're going to do each side one more time, just to make sure you got this one. But you can't have your head over here. You got to have the head over the foot. Woo! And then load into the big toe. Good. Good. And good. And that's really working the front hip rotation. Okay? Nice and tall, ribs down. The ability of my rib cage to rotate and expand. And all we're going to do is left side. And let's go ahead and 10 reps here. Back hip across. 1, 2, right. Your head is over your right foot. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I have pretty good hips because I do this all the time. But when I first start working with somebody, a lot of times they think that they're moving. So I want you to check with me. As you bring the right hip to the midline, the belly button is into your lead thigh. Belly button is into your lead thigh. So if you think you're there, but your belly button is still going that way, just know you need to go belly button into the lead thigh. That's a reflection of where your hips and your pelvis are facing. Right? Good. 6, 7, heads over the left foot. 8, 9, and 10. Okay, nice. So let's add a little bit. If you have a dumbbell or if you have a kettlebell, let's go ahead and grab a little bit of load. You can even do it, we only want a little bit, so we just grab 10 pounds. I'll just grab it off my hex bar. So I've got a 10-pound plate. If you don't have load, just do it without. We're gonna go back to that half kneeling position. Take the leg, once again, out to 45 degrees. And as soon as we add load to the picture, we get an upregulation of the nervous system. Everybody freaks out just a little bit, everybody being your body. So we're just gonna hold 2 hands to the midline, and we're just gonna add a little bit more load to that adductor, which is gonna give us a little bit of a different experience. As soon as I can strengthen and lengthen the inner thigh, I can strengthen and lengthen the outer hip. And that is a forced couple relationship, internal rotators and external rotators. I don't want to overcook the adductors, but I definitely want them to be resilient and be strong. So again, I upregulate more muscle fibers to work just by adding a little 10-pound weight. 8, 9, and 10. Okay? Good. Same thing other side. So all of the athletes that do train with me that I require them to do Mobility Monday just grabbed a 10-pound plate. If you don't have a little bit of stuff at home, you might want to start thinking about it as we go into the off season. Even if you go to a traditional gym, there's always going to be a snow day or just you only have 20 minutes. It's really important to have a little bit of stuff at home. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, nice and easy. 9, good. And 10. All right, keeping it simple. Let's go ahead and just get a little bit of an open book. So we're moving through the thoracic spine, but let's keep it on the side. So unloaded is when we lay down. Knees up almost at hip height. Arms out to the side. I'm pretty comfortable holding my head in this position. If you feel like you want to put a pillow or a yoga block under your head, you should do that. And all we're looking for is this, again, dissociation between the lower and the upper body. So that's, if you are strong through your core, this will be a pretty easy movement for you, because a rigid core typically reads as tight, isn't, in my world, very strong. So we want to be able to move today. I was super excited, if you're still with me here at the end of the session, I was super excited to hear from Taylor last night. She raced this weekend in Las Vegas. She did just wonderful. It was such a hard race, and congratulations to Taylor for taking the W this weekend. But I was getting text from her last night as I was on the airplane home from Spain, and she was like, "Are we hitting the gym tomorrow?" Which I know she's going to be sore, and she should be. It was well earned, and she can still change her mind whether or not she wants to come to the gym today or not. But I may get to see her, and we'll be doing a lot of little things like this today. Her movement specialist, I definitely play a role, but Lawrence has really taken the wheel with a lot of her daily stuff, because it really sinks into her run form, and I just want to play the role that I need to play to help her. So just so you know, it's not like you need to just take time off after a big effort. One of the best in the world is coming to the gym 2 days after a huge effort. So you can do these sessions as helping you to recover and restore mobility so that you can get right back to work and being the best that you can possibly be. So I hope you have an amazing day. Thanks for starting your day with me. I'm definitely enthused and ready to get back to work. So hopefully I didn't overcoach a little bit today. But have a happy Monday. When we get together next week, we'll have a new Kona champion for the men. It's going to be a super exciting day. So make sure you tune in on Saturday for the World Championship of Ironman. Peace, everybody. Thanks for coming out.